Right, good morning ladies and gentlemen. It's Tuesday the 26th of November. As you can see, I'm getting ready to do my mould. What you will notice that some of it's already been fiberglassed. I've got a problem here with sunshine. We've tried to put a blanket up to shade it, but as you can see, I've already first lammed most of this box. And what I've done with this, I've got it ready. It'll all become apparent when I start laying it up. But first of all, what I've got to do, and you'll notice that the mould has been painted black and blue. The reason for that is I'm trying to make it as difficult as I can. I don't need it that colour, but if any time anybody wants to put a line on their finished product for a waterline or anything like that, I'll show you how to do it. I was going to show you the other day when I gelled it, but unfortunately the video was that bad it weren't worth showing. So there's the blue gel coat. I've got this mat ready. Normally I wouldn't do it like this, but it's just a way of showing you who've never done fiberglassing before a way of doing it which makes it a little bit easier. So now I'm going to pass you over to my assistant because I can't do both jobs, which I proved when I failed with the video the other day. So right then, what you do, the first thing you do is you wet your gel coat out. We're going round the corners to where I've fiberglassed up to. Right, the reason I've done that like that, I'll just give this a bit of a wet out now, not too much, because you'll see why I've put that mat in place in the gutter already. It's very difficult when you've done something like this, when you've got a small flange like that, to actually wet that mat out that you know it's wet enough. So basically what I do, I peel the mat up from what I've done, push it up to there, and to make sure I get a good coat of mat on this flange this side, I wet it like that. Then what I do, I peel it back down again, knowing that it's going to land where I want it on this edge. I've not seen anybody do it like this, so, but then again they've probably not made it as difficult. But if you see that now, that's right up to the top of the flange and it's wet. Whereas you trying to get a little roller in, a big roller or whatever, you're not going to be able to do it. The only way you can do it is with a brush. Right, so we'll continue wetting this out. Round the corners as well. Give it one of them. And then just make sure you've wet the gel coat underneath. Then what we do, we fold it back. Now the reason I've decided to do it this way, I don't want you sat for 2 hours, 3 hours watching this being all laid up. So basically I'm trying to cut the video time down, especially because I failed on one the other day. What you can see just there is that there's not a lot of resin on that bit. So basically you just tap a bit on. You can't get in with your roller, but this is because I've made the flange so tight. I have decided that this is actually going to be my fry tank as opposed to a measuring tub, simply because this will be the worst product I make out of the three I'll do. The last one I make will be the best one, because simply you'd never put a line on there on them corners where you know you've got to rub down, because you will actually rub through the line. So you know it's just going to look a mess. Another way of getting into the channel is by doing that. You lift it up. Obviously it's strengthening the corners, but I'll show you in a little while how much I can put into these corners. I'll do that one as well. I can do it with the roller. And all I'm doing, I'm making sure I've got up that edge in that corner, because obviously as I bent the mat round the corner, it was coming away, so there'd be a gap down there. Fortunately on this side there was actually, it was all in the bottom anyway. So what I'm doing now, I'm just sort of, let's say, massaging the mat to force the resin through. I can't get in there with my roller, so I'm not going to be able to do it that way. I'll just put a little bit more resin on, and then we'll start getting into this bit. I can see there, if you want to just have a look there, there's a little bit where there's no fiberglass on. You can still see a bit of gel coat. Let's step back a bit, assistant, and I'll just pop that on there. Not going to make a lot of difference. Right, so now I'm just going to manipulate this, massage the mat a little bit, and where I can't get at it with a roller, you'll see that I'm going to do the same thing with the brush. Having done that, you've gone right round it, and what I'll do, I'll just press this down. When I put the first layer of mat on, when I went round the corners, you could actually see some little spikes sticking up when the mat had cured, and all I did, I just went round with a little bit of sandpaper, just took it off, so when I put this mat on, the second layer of mat on, it didn't lift this mat up and cause many problems. You just want to step back there, or you're going to get sprayed. Right, so there is too much resin on this really, but obviously I'm trying to rush, because there's a few things I want to show you regards the gel coating and everything like that, just to show you how I did it on the mould and explain what happens with it.
And what's that tool?
Pardon?
What is that tool?
This is a paddle roller. Some of them call it a what do they call it? Consolidating roller nowadays, but I can still call it a paddle roller. This, the reason I'm forgetting to tell you some things, and that's why everybody just prompted me, is because I did a similar video to this the other day to show everybody, and it was rubbish. So there's some things I think I've already told you, and I haven't, because I didn't put that video out because it was so bad. But basically, just checking all these corners now, it's all nice and neat. And then you just tap it down in there. You can see the air moving out as I tap it. There's a bit of air there, but that's because the gel coat has got ripples in it, and if you put a bit of extra mat on or anything like that, and extra resin on, you can get it out. I'll fetch some up so you can actually see it. But basically on this corner, most of this area was done, so it don't need a lot of work there. But once you've got to this stage, you can check. It's very hard to see down back of this, but because it's so tight, the only thing I've got to get in here is the brush. When you're gelling this, it's absolutely awful to gel, because obviously you do need a flange on it, but I could have put a 4-inch flange on it. But who wants a 4-inch flange on a small bowl like this? Nobody does. So looking at that, a bit of air in that corner, I'll take that away in a minute. Can I just get in there? There is actually a layer of mat on that bit anyway, so, but if the air is under the mat and onto the gel coat, you get what they call an air bubble. And what that does, when you release the mould, release the job, the gel coat comes with it and you end up with an hole. I have seen a couple on a few moulds just lately. What we used to do when I worked to a boat company, we used to go around the edge of the corners, because it's normally the corners where it is, go around the corners after we released it and tap it with a piece of wood, and what it would do, it would break the gel coat away, so it meant that we had to fill it with the gel coat. And because gel coat's air inhibited, the top wouldn't go off. The bit was in on the mould would go off, but the top wouldn't, it'd stay tacky. So what you had to do, you had to put masking sellotape on it to seal it in so the air couldn't get at it, and then it would cure. So you could then rub it down just like you would any kind of filler. But just come around this side where I've got a bit of feathered edge. It doesn't make a lot of difference really. As I say, this corner has got some fiberglass already on it. Right. So I'll come and get that in a minute. There's obviously a hole there. These things are sent to triers. It's probably where the mat's already gone round the corner as well. Right, let's get back to this side and just take these featherings off of this edge. Right. That's it. That's the first lamb on. Now if we take you around this side and just show you this. I've got this ready exactly same on this side. Normally I won't do this, but what I want that edge to be like that. But you can put it in and do it that way. Basically you just force it in. This is in case we lose, if we try to pause it and end the video and you go, we could just put it in like that. But what I'd do, I'd wet it out, either on the side of here, wet that out and then force it in like I did on that end. So there's definitely two ways of doing that. And then we pop that on like that. And now I'm going to show you, if I can, the gel coat side. So if you want to come around here, River. Can you see that well enough? There's the camera on it.
Yeah.
Right. This, you see the masking tape here? You can see where I put masking tape on that, gelled that, and then took the masking tape off to get my line. Well, basically that's what I've done on there. I'm going to now, this rag here is called a tack rag. What you do with that, you move it along and take any dust off. It feels a little bit tacky. It's even more tacky now, I've got it on my glove. But basically then, I'm going to mix the gel coat up I've got. I'm trying to rush because obviously I don't want the resin to go off and waste it, what I've already got. So I put a bit of catalyst in there. I am doing it by eye if anybody asks, because it's the only way I know how to do it. Measuring at 10% out, or 5%, or whatever you want a catalyst to your mix, or 1%, whatever it is now, I don't know. But if you do ever go at fiberglassing, there is things now like graphs what they do, and it shows you if you use a slow catalyst, a medium catalyst, or a high catalyst. It shows you the ratios you've got to do to your gel coat, your resins and things like that. I've actually had to keep my resins in here where it's a bit warmer, simply because if resin gets really cold, it gets really thick. It gets hard to manipulate. And to be honest, we had a frost last night again, so we'll leave that at that. Stand that up there. Get us brush. Right, so that line's on there. You'd think I want to keep it, but let's just pop some gel on. I'll show you what problems you can have with gel coat, to be honest. There is a few. But all I'm going to do is just sweep this gel in up to this masking tape for now. I hope you're staying with me, because we're only going to be going for about another 10 minutes or more. And just pop that like that. And then what I tend to do, I tend to work away from the line just a little bit. Try and get us down a bit. And then I go across the line. Then I put a bit more on and just go across the line like that. Wipe some off and then start levelling out. Now I'm not going to worry about this too much just yet, simply because all this is to do is show you about the masking tape. Right, when you're pulling masking tape off and you're making a line, we used to do this on the boats when we put a line on the side of the hull. Imagine having a £100,000 hull and getting line wrong, because it'd short like a sore thumb. Well, all you do is pull it off like that, and there's your line. Can't get the bloody tape off my finger now, mind off it. Well, I might. Right. Now, it seems stupid that I've done that, because I am going to cover the rest of the board. That's why I won't bother about the texture of the finish. There is a reason for that, because which I'll show you in a minute. But basically, that'll stay there now, Hillary. And basically, what I'm doing is we're just giving you an idea how to do this. But I don't think anybody will really do it. But when I do my measuring tub properly, and not just a little sample like this, you will see I will put a line on it, because then you can check your levels and things like that for you when if you use it as a quarantine tank, or you use it for your fry or anything like that. Just make it nice and smooth, or as smooth as you can. If you look there, there's a little white bit. If you get that on your finished job, you'd see the resin through that. Very often, a lot of companies, when they're using white gel, they use a white resin as well. So there's another one there. But if you got your brush and scraped, you can see the lines coming through. So you have to be careful and just take it nice and smooth. It don't matter what that finish looks like really, but you would like it as smooth as possible. But there you go. This brush is a bit stiff really, it's one of the ones I've used earlier. Right, that's that done. Now I'm going to show you what it looks like when it's released with fiberglass on it. See, fiberglass that, you can see that there, that's what it looks like when it's finished. If you notice in here, I don't know if you can see it, there's a clear gel. What I tried to do was put a clear gel on, so if I did make a measuring bowl, you could, I was going to put the measuring tape on top of that, so when it came out you could see the tape. But the three problems with that: this clear gel didn't take very well, it broke up on the mould. The other reason was the tape is so shiny, the measuring tape is so shiny that I don't think it was going to stick. And because you're going to put the fiberglass on the other side of it, you'd have to, the sticky tape that's on the back I think would wrinkle, so I've given that up as a bad job. I'm not going to do that. But that's your line, and that's what's going to come out after that's released. So I'll leave that there. I'll get back to his fiberglassing. Just check this out. Are we okay here? That's actually on top of another layer of mat. Right, so we'll get back to the fiberglassing. I'll just hope that that resin don't go, that gel coat don't go off and take my brush with it. Right, that's how I've got that. I know that's how it fits. So similar again, I'm going to wet this out like that. This is just to hold, basically just to hold the mat in place while I realign the channel, the piece for the channel. What I don't want is masses a mat like that above the channel, because it can cut your hand. So what you do, you just firm that down a bit. It's just to assist you and get that channel mat wet through. So basically we do that. Oops, sorry I'm sniffling, but I'm overexcited. I think I'm getting a bit of a cold again. But anyway, as you can see, we drop that down, and by rights, if you've done it right, when you tuck that in, that should fall just above the side of the melamine. That's it. And then as you force it down into the corner, it'll go down a little bit more. If you leave it too long, it will stretch the mat. Not that it makes a lot of difference, because end of the day, your main strengths are going to be in your corners and in your flange. That's the rigidity of the finished job. The gel coat is there just to be waterproof, because obviously when this comes out you'll be putting water inside it, not as it is now. I know that's obvious to a lot of people, but some people have never seen anything done like this before, even though I've actually watched a few videos, because I was a bit nervous about doing it after not doing it for such a long time. But as soon as I smelt the resin and the styrene, as they call it, I was on it. I'm not a glue sniffer, by the way. I'm just saying that it don't bother me too much. But right, we do that, and now I'll show you the other way of doing it. With the brush, and you can do the flange just the same way. Wet it up like that. Find that on there. What did I do with that? There it is. And And then without boring you too much, it's sort of repeat. But this, what do you do with this? Because you've already wet it out, you can put it in like that. Normally I do it one way like that and another way like this. Basically it's normally the layer that goes on top of this. I will the layer that goes on top of this, I would do the opposite way around to what I did this first one. As you can see, on the mould itself, probably better on the other side, I put the whole side on in one layer of mat. I didn't split it like this, I did it all in one layer of mat. Pull that up, make sure we've got enough fiberglass near the edge because we want to rub that down when it comes out. I did it in all one layer of mat, and then this time with this I've done it this way because I overlap here, because this is the widest piece, you want a bit of strength in there. So the idea is I shall drop it on like that, so it overlaps this side a little bit, overlaps at bottom, so you get a bit stronger corner, and then I'll put that up on top. So I'll take that off, wet the rest of the fiberglass out. I don't want to go too far up there because obviously Matt came round corner, but because I've gone nearly to that corner, I'm not going to disturb the first lamb of Matt that I put on. So I'm going to overlap that there like that, pop that on, and again, because I can't get me roller down into that gully, I'm going to pick that up again, give it a quick wipe over, do it again, and just drop that down. Make sure you don't pull the flange away from this side. In it goes. Then you carry on like that. Radio's gone off, so we probably had a power cut, but still. Right, so then all you do, you just wet it out again like before. If you want to come round here, you can just show them where it's overlapped there. That'll strengthen that. So if you was just making a measuring bowl, you wouldn't need it any stronger than that. If you do the same on the top, instead of doing it in one solid lump of mat, you do it in two and put, or maybe even do it in three and put a overlap there to double the thickness of the mat, and an overlap there. That strengthens the bottom as well. So then all we do, we just make sure there's enough resin on there, and then we go back to this one, work it a bit. This is not as vital as the first lamb that we put on that end, but again we've got the same problem that we can't get down with the roller into this, so we have to do all the work with a brush. And all we're doing is forcing a bit of air out, making sure that everything's stuck to the other layer of mat. Pop a bit more resin in there. Right, now then, what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to give it a bit of the old consolidating roll. Good word for me there. Hit it with a paddle roller just a little bit. Get some more of the air out. There isn't another layer of mat going on top of this, but I'm just going to do that. I don't like putting too many layers of mat on. I've seen people put 3 layers of mat on, and to be fair, if it gets too hot, it can affect the gel coat in such a way that it can distort it. You can see, like, I think they call it rippling, but I'm going along there like that, low as I can, try and get in there, go across the top. Hopefully, you know, we're going to stop video in a minute, but hopefully I'm going to get all this done today. I don't know what time it is now, it's probably 12 o'clock, something like that. I'll take the wife shopping and get her a bit of dinner or something, just to thank her for coming and doing the video. But then we do this again, make sure it's all nice and firm. I'm gonna go along that with the brush. I hope you're still there. Oh, by the way, thanks to the new subscribers. I noticed I had some more the other day, so I did mention it in that video. I haven't got any more. But right, what I'm going to do now, I've got these 2 pieces of wood. I've chamfered edges down because the fiberglass don't really like sharp edges, it likes rounded edges. What I'm going to do, I'm going to pop that in there. It does fit, I hope. Right, I'm going to pop that in there. Got another one here. You do wet the wood just to try and help it a little bit to adhere to the layer of fiberglass you put on. Now, it wouldn't matter now, that's in, it wouldn't matter now if you left that to cure and then before you put another layer on. But what I shall do, I'll wet that so I'll show you. You really want a straight edge on this when you're doing this, because up we go again. Wet that out, get it, and this is just so you don't pull the flange down. You pop that in like that, just tap it in, and that's in. Now, you wouldn't normally do it like this. You'd normally wait till you've got enough resin in your bucket and things like that, but I'm doing it this way simply because I don't want you to be sat all day watching this bloody video. I want you to be able to go out and do whatever you want. But wet another one out, get this straight edge again. The reason I am doing this is, even though it's going to be my fry tank, I could have just ripped that a little bit on corners to help it go down. It's a bit long, that is, but I am going to cover this all with another layer of mat, but the mat will stretch. Yeah, the reason I'm doing this is because I'm going to put a lid on this and pop this in like this. It wouldn't need to be strengthened with any timber normally, it's not big enough, but just pop that on like that, tidy it up, make sure it's all back to the thing, knock them little lumps down what I've just made, and then do that, do the same again, and get that a bit of roller. As I say, normally I would have put a layer of mat about 4 inches along, right from that corner right along here. Just tap that down a bit. Check the corners. It's the corners, if they're on a straight, you've got a straight edge on your mat, they don't fold round very well. They will go round, but they don't fold round very well and seat. So because that's the eye up there, you can see the difference between that, nice and wet, solid in. This looks a bit aerated, so just get this, pop that on, and then basically that's done, apart from a little bit of brushing down. Right, so ladies and gentlemen, this will have another layer of mat. What I shall do, I will put a thin strip along there, then I'll put another layer of mat, and I'll start it here, get a little joint there, overlap there, little overlap there. I'll do the same on top, I'll do the same on the other side, except for putting the timber in, because I know it don't need any timber in there. I'm over engineering it because when I take this out, this needs a lot of work. This mould will need a lot of work to flat the corners down. I will try and video it, but it needs to be strong because I'm going to take what would be a filter unit off it, and then if I want to make any more of these, there not be any rubbing down on the final product. It will just release and it'll be ready to go. It will just trim it and be ready to go. If I wanted to strengthen it, I have put this down to one side. I'm not going to use it, I don't think. But this, I could actually stick on there now, on one there, and then when I fiberglass over the rest of it, that'll give the strength in the sides. Once it's all laminated up, I'm going to put another layer on here, then obviously 2 layers on the rest of it, and then when I go to release it, I'll unscrew that, and then I can go down here with my wedges. Obviously well, we'll get to other bit of it'll be confusing. We have the flange on, but that's what we're going to do. And then if you want to come round here, I did show this in my last video, and now I've remembered. If you get any mat like this and you haven't got a table to cut your mat on and roll it out and all such as that, leave the mat in the box, get the polythene off it, cut the box in that position, and then what you can do, you can fold this over, and pull it out, right? Drop it down, else please. And then watch that. Then what you can do, you can use that as a cutting table. So whatever size you want, I'll just whip across it just to show you. There you go. So I know when you've got plenty of room and you've got a big table to work from, then you're fine. But as it is, I haven't got the room, and that's the easiest way I find. I've cut my mat ready for rest at mould. So if you just come and have a quick look at this before we shut you off. Obviously we've got these timbers in now for me hinges. If you look along here, you can see there's no air in the flange, and the mat's just coming up to the top nicely, and then all we do is strengthen that like I've just done. So hopefully, ladies and gentlemen, that's give you enough information. I'm sorry it's how it is, but the other video were absolutely rubbish. So if you want to press stop, Hillary, and bye bye everybody. Thank you very much.